Hello, welcome back to the channel. So, the entire government very soon may want to thoroughly be on a public ledger or a blockchain. I gotta say, once I first noticed that information headline, I was quite excited. You men need to be too, because this is going to provide even extra transparency around authorities and the spending, which we've come to discover is a large trouble. But furthermore, something that I recognize will speak to all of you beautiful human beings, that is going to be definitely first rate for XRP and the crypto enterprise as a whole. It's showing how this generation may be utilized in government in order to make certain that you and me have better representation. Okay? And so, sure, there may be a whole lot of extremely good portions of information to talk about in latest video. We're going to dive deeper into the challenge I simply mentioned. However, first, I want to talk about the economic system. Due to the fact China's in a lot of trouble, okay? And with the US-China exchange conflict heating up, tariffs being the communique throughout the entire nation proper now, this is simply something that we're going to need to pay attention to, because in the event that China and America keep the conflict that they're having right now, there may be massive results on each aspect. Admittedly, it is in all likelihood going to be plenty worse for China. I'll explain why, and nicely, sure, it can probably spell some trouble for cryptocurrency inside the brief term, which I also do need to carry to your guys' interests. But first, allow us to speak approximately how China's housing market is continuing to fall. We can see if prices of newly constructed homes in China plummeted by means of 5.7% in December, near the maximum inside the closing 10 years, and existing home costs dropped 8.1%, certainly one of the most important declines in, as a minimum, 14 years. Home income in China have declined for over years since the real estate market bubble burst in 2021. Meanwhile, belongings investments tumbled 10.6%, suggesting more weak point in advance. Property income and new creation starts fell 12 to 9% and 23% respectively, remaining. China's real estate marketplace is collapsing. Now, why is this type of large deal for the worldwide financial system? Well, primary, Chinese investors, their number one invested asset elegance is the actual property marketplace. So while you see that they may be getting sincerely decimated in this way, it is a traumatic sign due to the fact there is a variety of Chinese wealth. This is caught up in a collapsing industry. So what does this potentially imply? It's going to mean that plenty of bankruptcies, a whole lot of stimulus is going to be wished in the Chinese economic system in order to make sure that they stay afloat. You see, if we continue at the same trajectory this has been going on proper now in China, we are going to see a ton of different banks enjoy a totally similar crisis to the 2008 to 2009 economic crisis in the United States of America. We all realize how that ended up. The Fed had to bail each person out. They had to print trillions of greenbacks. That ended in big inflation and a massive economic recession, which did last a first-rate quantity of time. And I'm projecting that due to what we are experiencing right here with China, they're going to see something very similar to this. And of direction, the price lists that the United States have imposed on China are best, including extra pressure to their already extremely vulnerable financial system. And China is the wide variety 2 economy inside the world. And yes, they have got more or much less flatlined inside the ultimate couple of years. But I gotta say, with all of this news that I've shared with you guys right here, these days, it's certainly like they could begin shrinking their length of their economic system, while you additionally recollect the truth that they may be going to be experiencing population disintegrate at the very equal time as, of course, deflation, the real property market collapsing, and all of the more strain from tariffs coming on, pinnacle of that. And so a variety of people are asking me what is going to manifest with shares, what is going to occur with crypto due to all of this. And I do suppose that it's very viable once this all plays out with China toward the cease of this 12-month. The world is probably going to be stepping into a totally steep correction, in addition to what we noticed back in 2022, which plays out flawlessly with the monetary cycles which might be presently taking place in the United States of America properly. So we are going to ought to hold our eyes tight to this, because this can spell essentially exactly when that collapse is going to be going on, so we know whilst to get our money out. Hold me, maintaining you men tuned in on that. Make certain you're subscribed so that you do not omit all my updates during this 12 months. That can be giving you guys a truly sturdy indication whilst matters are about to hit the fan. You can also see that the FDIC is revising pointers. That's going to allow banks to engage in crypto activities. I went over this very in short. My live movement. But This improvement is part of an ongoing shift taking vicinity within the United States with the advent of the seasoned crypto Trump administration, and the government has sought to completely overhaul its guidelines close to asset elegance, which is going to permit banks to start extensively adopting this. And the Bank of America CEO has popped out and said, the instant those regulations are in region, they're going to be going loopy. And so, yes, I do assume that this bull run still has lots greater room to head. We're really not on the end of this bull run. We definitely do have a nice runway during this 12 months because this is going to allow trillions of dollars to go into the crypto market. And so this is something you clearly need to get organized for. Now, talking of rules, Ripple, SEC, I need to share with you men an outstanding tidbit of information that turned into simply published nowadays. In fact, just about an hour in the past. The trial legal professional who signed the Ripple v. SEC case has formally resigned. Yes, the SEC v. Ripple case is basically over. Due with this example have become reassigned. They may be getting moved around. The lawyer who started this example is literally resigning. He is stepping out. Guys, this is loopy. Why he's resigning nicely? He's resigning so that the new SEC chair and everybody else is going to be a part of it. Can't fire him due to the fact whilst you're fired from a government position like the SEC right here, meaning which you cannot reapply in the future. So he is basically saving face through resigning now due to the fact he knows he's going to get fired, due to the fact this situation is going to get thrown out. This might be the most interesting news I've seen in a touch, even as it's literally simply we're counting the times now, we're counting the days for the new SEC chair to basically simply review this case, throw it out the window and flow on with our lives. Furthermore, we are able to see that Brad Garlinghouse is expected to be selected for an advisory function on the White House Crypto Council. Now this has become, in reality, put out in the form of an editorial from none apart from the New York Post. And we can see that there may be a ton of call for Brad Garlinghouse to be the fellow. You know, it makes a variety of feel. Number one, we realize how properly Brad Garlinghouse already is with Trump. They've had multiple calls. They had a dinner with Trump, among many other exclusive activities that the chief legal officer has attended with Trump as nicely. I do not assume there's everybody better than Brad Garlinghouse to do that. And, well, I suppose there is actually even extra of a likely possibility, primarily based off of something else that I actually have visible, which I'm going to show you truly in only a second. I need to talk approximately the US Treasury, okay? Basically, Elon Musk has been absolutely tearing aside the spending of the US government. Most substantially recently, what's been all over the news is USAID or USAID. That whole agency is getting uncovered for improbable quantities of corruption, right? And this has precipitated Elon Musk to make some of statements. However, probably the maximum exciting one is how he's now in complete aid of putting US Treasury transactions on a blockchain for full transparency. And in case you also do that for certainly all other public serving, you already know, components of presidency, it'll allow us to get entire oversight over every single transaction and precisely what they're used for. And so this could essentially permit us to look every unmarried distinctive department, all of their names, the glide of cash, the cause why the money is being transferred from one department to the opposite, and precisely how all taxpayer money is being used. I completely help this. This is virtually something that I've been speaking about ever since 2020.